I'm only going to do one. It's called the Iliad. And it's 10,000 pages long. No, I promise I won't. Around the country where I live, there was a couple by the name of Morris and Mabel Milne. Now, they were a little odd, but they were nice folks. Morris was the kind of guy who wore them tennis shoes about 14 sizes too big, and he looked like a clown walking down the street. And old Mabel, she was a little hard of hearing, and all you had to do was sit there and Morris would be yelling in Mabel's ear. Now, one time they were going to hit the town about 50 miles down the road. And as they're going down the road, Morris's huge tennis shoe got wrapped up in the accelerator. And here he's going about 85 miles an hour. Well, of course, the state trooper, he saw a car going by him that fast, and he wound out after him, put on the lights, and pulled old Morris over to the side of the road. Morris sitting there, and the trooper went up there and knocked on the window, and Morris rolled down the window. Trooper said, know how fast you were going, sir? Mabel said, what did he say? Morris said he wants to know if we knew how fast we were going. Oh. He said, could I see your driver's license and registration, sir? Mabel said, I didn't hear him. Morris said he wants to see my driver's license and registration. Oh. Cop looks at it and he said, I see you're from Kansas City. Mabel said, what? He said, I see you're from Kansas City. Oh. He said, the cop said, you know, I was married to a gal in Kansas City. Worst lover I ever had in my life. Mabel said, what? He says he thinks he knows you. I can explain that one after if you like. Anyhow, I had, I know over the edge a little bit, but I can't help it. Anyhow, I had an old friend by the name of Chester. I know I'm supposed to be a poet, but I'm telling stories tonight. But I'm going to give you one poem. Anyhow, I had an old friend by the name of Chester. Now, Chester is one of these guys, he was kind of a braggadocio type guy. He got a job as an assistant game warden in the state of Kansas. I think he was the assistant's assistant. But anyhow, they give him a uniform and everything. Oh, he had the belts and all kinds of badges on it. He was really impressed with himself. Come over to my place one day, he had the truck. He said, I'm in charge today, Bob. He said, I'm going to take you on a run. I said, okay. He said, we're going to nab some of them poachers and illegal hunters out there. I said, well, you do what you want, Chester. You're the man. Oh, he said, I am the man. So we drive up there, and there's a couple of guys hunting. Chester walks over to him, and he said, you boys got licenses to hunt here in Kansas? Well, the guy said, yeah, here's our license. Shows it, and looks at it, and checks it off, and said, I see you got some ducks over there. And he picks up one duck, and he looks at it, and he turns it up, turns it over, and you know what the vent of a duck is. Anyhow, Chester sticks his finger up this duck vent, and he goes, these are Oklahoma ducks. You got a license to hunt ducks from Oklahoma? The guy said, well, no, we're in Kansas. He said, well, let me see that other one. Grabbed the other one, he looked at it. He said, this is Nebraska duck. You got a license to hunt Nebraska ducks? The guy said, well, no, we don't. Chester said, where are you boys from? The guy bent over and said, you're the expert. Okay, I was in, I had to lower the level a little bit, didn't I? I was in New York City, and I was doing a concert there, and let me tell you, the people were, hey, where are we here? I got people shout out where we're at, because my wife doesn't believe I'm here. Shout out, honey, we're in Van Horn. Say it, please. Van Horn. a little louder. Let her hear it. I love you, dear. Anyhow, back to my story that I forgot all about. Was in New York City, and the people were excellent. I mean, they were a great crowd, having a lot of fun. But you can tell they didn't know a damn thing about what I was talking about. Of course, neither did I, so that didn't matter. And I was doing this poem about a PTO. It came our day to make hay. 'Twas a fine Timothy and alfalfa mix. Slim said, Bob, I can't do the job. Why? Well, I still got the tractor to fix. Now, folks, the tractor was new, and the mower was too. Hell, I only bought them just last week. So with a feeling of dread, I approached the shed and opened the door to take a peek. What I saw still sticks in my craw. Now, normally I'm a peaceful man, but that tractor once sealed was now peeled, like the lid of a sardine can. The axle was broken, the motor was smoking, and oil was running all over the floor. That once shiny paint now had a fire-scorched tint. I couldn't take it anymore. Well, Slim, it seems, took the girl of his dreams for a joyride down by the lake. Believe it or not, his old sleeve got caught, and he hit the throttle instead of the brake. Well, they went down that terrain like a runaway train, and through a culvert not quite tall enough, over railroad tracks, through a field of flax, and they crashed in a poplar bluff. I said to him, this looks mighty grim, and a haying will have to go. I said, Slim, this may sound mean, but you'll pull that mowing machine. And guess where I stuck the PTO? Now, after the show, a lady comes up to me and she said, I really like that poem, Bob. She said, but please, what is a PTO? So if you gotta explain it, it ain't worth nothing. Anyhow, one more story and then we'll wrap her up. How's that? Can I do one more? I hate to ask you. You don't like the last two? They were too dirty. I've got a cheat sheet right here. I'm gonna do it right now. I'm gonna get even with you. The last thing I do. Old cowboy went out one Saturday night. He got loaded. And he was coming home and Sunday morning, just weaving on his horse. There was a church group over there, and it was a Baptist group. And the old boy rode over to where the crowd was, and he fell off his horse into the water. And the preacher was there, and he thought, oh. So he ducked that old cowboy under the water, and then he brought him up. He said, have you found Jesus? Cowboy looked at him, and he said, no. Preacher ducked him down again, and he said, have you found Jesus? He said, no. Preacher ducked him down again and held him there for about a minute. Then he brought him up, looked at the old cowboy, he said, have you found Jesus? Cowboy said, are you sure this is where he fell in? Thank you very much, folks. Have a good evening.